Hi, my name is Elaine, and in today's video, I want to talk about what to do when you think that you've picked the wrong career. So to start with this, it could be that you've picked the wrong career and you're well into your career, or you've just finished college and you realize that what you did in college is not what you want to do for the rest of your life. Or you're just doubting the career that you are doing and you're wondering if maybe there's something else out there for you. The reason I want to talk about this is because in 2010, I graduated from college with a Bachelor of Science in Architecture. In Ireland, if you want to become an architect, you do one degree, a second degree, and then you do some professional practice. And this for me was the first part of my degree. I took a year out. If I'd gone back to college to continue, I was obviously heading towards that career trajectory of becoming an architect. And I realized that being an architect wasn't the job for me. And I went about changing my career over the course of a couple of years, and I now work, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned on this channel before, but I work as a journalist. I work as a researcher in a current affairs radio station. It took me a couple of years to do that, and it also took me a couple of years to realize that was something that I actually wanted to do. So because of that, I just wanted to share with you a couple of tips if you're at that point where either you've had an epiphany and you're like, this is not the career for me, why am I doing this? Or you're like I was, where over the course of a year and a half, you kind of start to get signs that maybe this isn't really for you and you just need that extra push to sort of change it up and to do something different. I've got 7 tips, as I always tend to have 7 tips. So let's jump into the video. Okay, so the first tip that I want to talk about is just chill the out. And what I mean by this is, it's quite scary to realize that you have picked your wrong career, especially if your parents have helped maybe pay for college, or you've got college debt and you've spent 3-4 years in something and you realize it's not for you. It's quite scary, but what I want to remind you is that nobody's dying, nobody's dead, nothing has gone wrong. It's okay, just relax. I was lucky enough that when I left college, I got a job in an architect's office, and I worked there for 3 years as a graphic designer, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. But I knew that I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. And I thought that my parents were going to kill me. I thought that people would be really disappointed, that I wasted their money, so many other things. And when I realized that they weren't, and they just wanted me to be happy, I decided to take those 3 years and to just explore different avenues of things that I thought I might like to do before I sort of jumped off and went to do something else. So if you're having a bit of a crisis with your career, my best advice is just chill out, relax, let yourself breathe, give yourself the time to think and to try different things, and it will be okay. My second thing then is, most likely you're going to need to upskill. So for certain careers, you're going to have to go back to college. So if you want to become a doctor, you can't just do a night course. You're going to have to commit to being a doctor and going through all of that university training and practical training before you can become a doctor. If maybe your career is something that isn't as clearly defined, like being a journalist, there is clear paths to a point into being a journalist, but there's so many different other ways that you can get into it. So for me, night courses were something that I have always loved and something that I will continue to do, but it was one thing that became invaluable for me. So before I even settled on journalism, I tried out a couple of different things. So the courses that I did were, I did one in interior design because I thought maybe I'd like to be an interior designer. I don't. I tried out psychology because I thought I might like to do something in that. I didn't. Then I did a radio course, and that was the point when I thought, okay, I think I'm going in the direction that I want to be in. I really liked it. I really liked communicating. I liked being in studios. I liked trying things out, and I just liked the content that I was learning in that course. I also began volunteering for a community radio station at the same time, so it kind of sort of solidified it for me. Then eventually when I started to go down that journalism path, I realized that I needed to upskill a bit more. So I wanted to check out, was it maybe TV or radio or print that I liked? So I did a TV course, which was a weekend course. And then eventually when I sort of settled on journalism and I knew I was heading in that direction, I did a diploma in journalism, which was over 22 weeks. It was a night course. And for me, I just needed there were certain skills that I needed to upgrade and certain skills I needed to gain, and I reckon that this course would do it for me. I still think that I probably would have got into my job having not done this course, but for me it gave me the confidence that when I would go into an interview I knew what I was talking about because I had been trained in those particular areas. And right now I'm embarking on a makeup course for no other reason than I just want to be able to do better makeup for my face. So upskilling is such an important thing, and also if you don't commit to a massive college course straight away, you can upskill for less money for shorter periods of time through night courses, and that would mean that it's also enabling you to try out different careers before you settle on the one that you want to do. The third thing is then that you may have to work for free. I really don't think that anyone should ever have to work for free, but for me, volunteering in different organizations has been key to me getting jobs. But I think the important part was I did them, and I made sure I did them because I wanted to. I made sure that I wasn't being exploited, and there was things that I wanted to get from these companies, and I felt that if maybe I was volunteering somewhere and I wasn't getting that sort of information or I wasn't getting that learning, I would move on to somewhere else. I think what helped me as well is I always had a full-time job through it. So we'll say, even before I had my architecture job, the summer beforehand I had volunteered. That summer they needed help with projects and I had the skills that would have worked. So I'd volunteered there. I'd also interned with them when I was younger. So for me, that was me proving to them that I had the skills that they needed so that when a job actually came up, I was able to get that job. In radio, when I moved to, I always did volunteer work in radio in the city in Waterford, which is where I'm from. And then when I first moved to Dublin, which I moved to Dublin 4 years ago, I needed to get my foot in the door and I needed to make contacts. So I would work my regular job Monday to Friday, which was a receptionist job, and then I would go out at the weekends and I'd volunteer in a radio station on Saturday mornings. And because I wasn't being exploited, it was my extra time. I was still able to pay my rent, I was able to pay my bills, all those sort of things, but I was starting to get contacts in the industry through doing that. I was able to sort of bump up my CV so that when it came to applying for jobs, I was more of an attractive candidate because of the fact that I had done that volunteer work. So people can be exploited through free work and they can be promised the earth, moon, sun, stars, everything. And that did happen to me, but I was just so acutely aware that I could get exploited that when it happened to me, I stepped away from that particular organization and I moved in the direction of a different organization. And as long as you're sort of cognizant and as long as you're very aware of why you're volunteering, what you want to get out of it, and you're not hoping and not being kind of sold a promise that if you work for 6 months, you'll get a job, I always think that volunteering and working for free for me has been invaluable. Tip number 4 then is you'll also have to work a lot of crappy jobs. So when I moved to Dublin 4 years ago to really pursue this journalism thing, I worked as a receptionist in an engineering firm in the city, and it just was not the job for me. There wasn't a huge amount for me to do. A lot of it was like answering phone calls, a lot of it was sort of service work where, you know, people would ask me to order things for them and things like that. And I just wanted to be doing more. I wanted to be creative, and it wasn't a particularly creative job. I mean, doesn't mean to say that being a receptionist in an engineering firm is a bad job. Just for me, for the things that I wanted to get out of employment, I found it particularly hard to work in this job, knowing that I just wanted to be more creative. I wanted to be in meetings and, you know, brainstorming ideas and bouncing ideas off each other and all those sort of things. And I was never gonna get that as a receptionist. Also, the environment in the particular office that I was in, I just didn't like the environment as much as other offices that I've been in. And I think that was contributing as well to me just feeling really unhappy in that place. But I needed to pay my rent, I needed to pay for college, so I was there for 9 months and I just stuck it out. I just kept applying for other jobs and I kept studying and I put my head down and I just kept applying myself, and then it got to a point where I sort of had to take a risk and I had to leave that job to take a job that wasn't, how do I put it, it was a paid internship, but it was only for 4 weeks. So I was taking a massive chance because I was giving up a permanent job for this. But because of the fact I think that job, I didn't like it so much, it was easier for me to make that decision. But I'm so thankful that I did have that job for those 9 months to enable me to save, to enable me to pay for college, and to enable me to become a journalist and to get a job in radio. When I think about it, I'd never work there again, but when I reflect back, I'm thankful that I did it. But it is something that sometimes you will have to work a job that you don't really particularly want to in the day just to make ends meet, I guess. And I mean, a lot of YouTubers, you would often hear them tell their stories, and like, I'm thankful that I love the job that I have as my day job, and that YouTube is something that I do for myself and something that I would love to turn into a career. But if I don't turn it into a career, I'm still going to love doing it. Whereas you do hear of a lot of YouTuber stories and they are working in jobs that they hate, and they're just doing it so that they can sort of progress their YouTube career. And it's hard, but it has to be done, and it's worth it in the end. My fifth tip then is that you need to trust your gut. So you need to trust what your gut is telling you. So that job as a receptionist is the first and probably the only time that I had a very physical and emotional reaction to a job. It just sucked the energy out of me. I felt tired all the time, sad. You know, I felt it very hard to continue to keep pushing and applying for other jobs. It wasn't a great time, but what I think it gave me was it introduced me to a feeling, and it showed me how much when something's not right, it can physically and emotionally affect you. So it introduced me to that feeling that if I ever feel in my day-to-day life, I know that something is wrong and I need to change the course that I'm on. Also, when I eventually moved away from architecture, and I, you know, stopped doing that graphic designer job that I did straight out of college, I just felt like things started to move, as hard as they were, things started to move towards, I just felt like I was moving forward again. And I kept trusting my gut, and I kept being like, as long as, like, some days were so hard and I found it really hard to keep plugging away at all the things that I was doing, and I was like, I'm just gonna jack it in and do something else. But something in me was like, no, you will get there eventually, just keep trying. And a lot of people talk about their success in a sort of like a linear fashion, and it just goes like from here to here, and you know, it goes from nothing to successful. And I don't think that's ever true. For me, it was like up and down and down and up and up and up and down and up and down and up, and now I'm up here at this point, which I'm really happy with. But I do think that my gut, and trusting my gut and listening to what my head was saying, listening to what my body was saying, listening to what my heart was saying, really helped me to move forward and to get the career that I love. Like, I love my job and I love making YouTube videos, and I just think that I'm really lucky and really privileged to be able to do this and to have a job that I love during the day and then come home and make videos that I love in the evening time. And it's really nice. It's just such a great thing to be able to do. So my sixth tip then is that your skills in whatever you've done, so whether it's previous college courses, jobs, careers, you will always have skills that will be transferable into different careers. So for instance, with architecture, there was a couple of different things that really helped me, and I have them written out here so that I didn't forget them. So the first one was the stamina. In architecture, you did a lot of all-nighters, you did a lot of really, really hard, intensive working. So you would work for a good, like, you know, 2 weeks solid coming up to projects. And it gave me the stamina that when maybe I was covering elections and I was working in the newsroom for elections, or even I've done videos on shift work, but the job that I had, I was working on a breakfast show, so it was, you know, the hours were quite difficult. It gave me the sort of the stamina and resilience to be able to do that, because nothing will ever be as bad as those 2 weeks before a project in architecture, ever. It also gave me a really good technical ability to just pick up computer programs really easily. So in architecture, you use a lot of different computer programs, and likewise in journalism or in radio or any sort of television production, you know, like even for putting these videos together, I'm using editing software, I'm using Photoshop, I'm using various different social media platforms. It was really good at giving me a really good technical base that I was able to pick up extra programs. And also, for instance, I learned Photoshop in college, so I used Photoshop to make all my thumbnails, so that was great. Another one was that you had to present your ideas when you were finished. So you had to stand up in front of your class and present your ideas, and it gave me the confidence, number one, to be able to stand here in front of a camera and be able to present, and to love speaking and to love public speaking. But also in work, a lot of the things that you do are idea based, so you're constantly trying to generate ideas and, you know, take news stories and put different angles on them. So it gave me the confidence to pitch ideas and to be able to pitch ideas to my senior producers in different meetings, and to have the confidence in my ideas. Also with architecture, you would often get your ideas slated, so it stopped me from being too precious about them and to taking the criticisms to heart, because it's not people don't like you, they just don't like your ideas, which is fine. And also teamwork. We were often put on team projects where you had to work with people for a week or 2 weeks, and it was quite difficult because some people didn't want to be on teams, other people did. You had different personalities, you had someone who wanted to lead, you had someone who didn't really want to do any work, and just those teamwork skills and communicating with teams has really helped me, because in radio, if you're putting a program together, it's teamwork all day, every day, because everybody is moving towards that one goal, which is the broadcast at whatever time it's going out at. And then my final one is that is just to ask to seek help. So it could be, you know, you could talk to just a friend, you could talk to someone who's in the industry that you want to go into to find out what it's really like to work in it. You could seek career guidance, you could go to a career coach, even books. Like books can be great, ones that help you to change your career, help you to maybe focus yourself on what skills you have. One thing that I used to do a lot of was I used to do like aptitude tests and personality tests, and I used to do them a good bit to kind of see what type of personality I actually had and what traits I had. And I used it to learn a lot about myself, so that then when I saw that like communication skills were good and creativity and all those different things, I was able to take them and sort of go, well, what career suits these sort of skills that I do have? And you know, working in radio, working in broadcasting, working in journalism fits the skills that I have and the things that come very naturally to me. But yeah, that is the end of my 7 tips. And the reason that I actually put these 7 tips together was because I was asked to speak at an architecture alumni event for the college that I did go to. So I will have done I still have the speech to go today, because today is Saturday when I'm filming this, but by the time that you see this, I will have already done the speech. So hopefully it'll have gone well. And this was also, I used it as a practice so that I would get the speech sorted. But I'm looking forward to speaking at that, because I think I like the fact that I have had various different twists and turns to my career, and I'm really excited for the next couple of years, because I think it will take more twists and turns, and I don't think that I will be doing what I'm currently doing right now in the same way for the rest of my life. I think I will move and change and, you know, work in different industries, and I'm just one of those people that doesn't have a true calling but has like 7, and they change constantly. If you are at that point where you're a bit nervous about your career, or you're hating what you're doing and you're not sure what to do with your life, I hope that these tips can help you. And if you have any questions or comments or whatever, pop them in the comments below. I'm always replying to comments, and I love when people engage with my videos and let me know what they think. And as always, you can follow me on my social media. Actually, I think I'll stick it down here today. And I'll be back. Oh, please give it a thumbs up. Please click subscribe. And I'll be back with another video next Sunday. Thanks for watching.